gun is just a tool. No better and no worse than any other tool. A shovel, nor an axe, or a saddle, or a stove, or anything. Think of it always that way. A gun is as good and as bad as the man who carries it. I surrender. Welcome back to McNulty's Book Corral. Today we're talking about Shane, and that little bit that I just recited was from the end of Chapter 5 in the book by Jack Schaefer. Shane is one of the all-time classic westerns, and of course I'm sure most of you are familiar with the movie. At the end of Chapter 5, Shane explains to young Bob in the book about the Colt single-action Army revolver, of which this is one. I have many Colts. This is an original Colt, and I have many Uberti Colts and so forth. I think I've blabbered about those a few times. Today we're talking about the book Shane, though. I'm going to set this down. By the way, this gun is unloaded. Handle guns safely, etc. Don't mix alcohol and firearms, and try and behave yourselves when you're watching YouTube. Bellhaven Black Stout. And let's talk about Shane. I want to talk about Shane because for YouTube channels, somebody in YouTube, and I don't know who it is, I apologize. I think it was Michael K. Vaughn. It wouldn't be surprise me if it was him. Created an event for YouTubers to participate in. It's called June on the Range. Now, I previously have confessed I'm the world's worst booktuber. I don't participate in the trends and so forth. However, June on the Range is very appealing to me, and I think it's great that booktubers who don't normally read westerns are jumping on that trend, that event that they share, and they are looking at westerns, and that's really, I think it's great. I've watched a lot of those from the channels I subscribe to, and it's wonderful to see people participating in reading the greatest genre of all time. So here we go. Today we're talking about one book, Shane, and the reason I want to talk about it is because this is interesting to me, because I read the book, in high school. I take that back. I read that book before high school. My first original edition is the 1966 printing from Bantam Books, I believe. And what I didn't know at the time was that the book was censored. Now, in the publishing industry, they call that editing. Sometimes they call it abridgments. Abridgments is actually something technically different. But I didn't know Shane was censored. And it was censored with simple swear words, hell, damn, and so forth, had been removed. So we're going to go through that so that you're enlightened at least a little bit to Shane. Now, the book was published in 1949. It was serialized in a magazine first, and then it was published in a hardcover. It became a popular book. And then, of course, the film was released in 1953. And every time it's one of my favorite, top 10 Westerns. And it was Victor Young's Call of the Faraway Hills is the name of that musical score in the beginning. That is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I have it on a CD, and I copied it and I played in my car with other Western favorite theme songs, and so forth. Anyways, that's the film. I'm not talking about the film today at all. I'm talking about the book. I want to track the censorship or editing, as you prefer. So 1949, I'm going to give you an example of an original line from near the end of Chapter 2. And it goes like this. I have it in front of me. It's what I said. This is Leland talking. I probably got the name wrong. It's what I said, 110. Hell, I'll be out money on the deal anyway, so I'll shave it to 100 if that'll make you feel any better. The word hell is, for this sentence, is what's the issue here. 1949. Now, the earliest edition of Shane I have is, and I've always was proud of this, I found this in an antique shop. It's the 1954 hardcover. This is the second hardcover of the book that came out in 1954 after the movie became a blockbuster hit. So they put out another edition of Shane. I don't own the first edition, and I wish I did, because it's really expensive. In fact, it's thousands and thousands of dollars if you find one. But I have this. And this is the first censored edition, which is not mentioned in the book. It simply says on the copyright page, copyright 1949, 1954 by Jack Schaefer. And you don't know that it's been changed. It's actually a beautiful edition. It has illustrations by John McCormick, who did this cover. And let me show you one of the interior illustrations because I think it's really, really cool. Really a nice edition that they put together. I'm looking for Bob, the boy. Wasn't the name changed in the movie? All right, so here's the type of illustration you get in the book. Beautiful edition. I was so proud when I found it because I don't see a lot of these on the market either. So anyways, I have this edition, but I didn't read it. I just kept it because I'd already read the book. Some years pass, and then I'm looking through it, and I noticed that there's, in my memory, I'm remembering the swear words, Anyways, long story short, I did some research, and I ended up getting this edition, which is published by the University of Nebraska Press. This is the critical edition edited by James C. Work. And in this edition, which features essays and articles about Shane and its influence, really a wonderful edition to have. This reproduces the original text. And it also has in the beginning a listing of the edits. Let's call them edits to try and be polite. It's censorship, but they're edits. 1949, it's What I Said, 110, Hell. In my 1954 edition, which is the first time we get the edits, aka censorship, they changed it to It's What I Said, 110, etc. They took hell out completely. So where does that leave us with modern editions? That's a hell of a question, Tom. Let's take a look at. I have three. I have the latest I have is 2003. So my earliest edition is 1966. In 1966 paperback and the 1969 paperback have identical covers, which I'll have scans of this coming up. You've seen these. You may own these. You've seen these before. 66 through 69 at least, these editions offer the 1949 text. Complete. So that's what you get. You get the original text. Then it gets goofy again. In the 2003 edition, which takes that original painting and blows it up, they changed the cover. This is a censored edition. And I think this is the current edition that's available. I haven't found it in a store yet, but it's changed to this. It's What I Said, heck, comma, I'll be out of money, blah, 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 etc. So they changed it to heck. So they went from hell in the original to eliminating that 1954 edition. They eliminated the word hell completely, just removed it. And then 66 to 69, we have the original text back. And then we have 2003, we have another revision, heck. So they did this, and I don't have a problem with publishers doing out a young reader's version. My first version of Huckleberry Finn was the Whitman version. I'm sure some of you people out there that have been around remember the Whitman books, and I've had many episodes where I showed those. The Huckleberry Finn edition was completely rewritten. It's an abridged, rewritten edition for younger readers. My grandmother gave it to me in 1965. I should have grabbed it to show it to you. And she inscribed it to me, and she was encouraging me to read. And that bears no resemblance to the original text at all. Again, I'm okay with that because it's stated as an abridged version. You know what you're getting. You know that an adult buying it for a child knows this isn't the original text. That's a little advanced. So I didn't read the original text of Huckleberry Finn until I was in my teens. Early 70s, and it remains one of my favorite books by Mark. I'm a Mark Twain fan. So anyway, this type of thing, when it goes on in this manner where you don't know that there's been censorship, editing guys, okay, that's for the publishing industry. I get a little irritated. I really don't like that. But so on the 2003 edition, which is edited, you have this statement: This edition contains the complete text of the original hardcover edition. Not one word has been omitted. Well, guess what? You lied. And then then when you look at the publishing history, this is your clue here. We have the first edition was October of 49. Then we have my 1954 edition, which in this edition is listed as the Houghton Mifflin Juvenile Edition, published January of 49. That's this book, but this book does not state that it's a juvenile edition anywhere in it, so that's a surprise. Then we get the education edition of 63. I'm assuming that would replicate this. I haven't found it yet. I'm not going to put a lot of effort into looking for these alternate editions, just to let people know that there's an issue here. Then the Bantam edition would have been November of 1950, so we're going back here. Then the new Bantam edition was February of 58.5. I have no idea if those editions replicated the original text or if they're censored. Then we have the Bantam Pathfinder edition of 1975. Then we have the new Bantam edition of October of 75. What's the difference? March to October? I don't get that. And then we have the first Laurel Leaf edition of June 2003, which is this edition. At some point, I will go into a store and see if it's easy to look up. It's at the end of chapter 2, you get that change, where he's talking about 100. It's what I said, 110. Hell, I'll be out of money on the deal anyway, so shave it to 100 if that'll make you feel any better. That's the original line at the end of chapter 2, near the end. So if you're interested right now in Shane the book, this is the edition you need to get, because this and the essays in here are really interesting to me. So this, again, this has a list of the edits. I hate that. I hate when they soft sell you something that, to tell you that it's to make it seem like it's not what it is. It's an edit. Excuse my French. It's censorship. I'm sorry. I'll have to edit that out. Anyways, other changes in between 1949 and other editions. Damned well that whether you have a hat on or blah, blah, blah. Right well that whether you have a hat on. And then another one is, this way are worth a damn. They changed to this way are worth a hoot. Okay, that's really something. It sets off one hell of a blow-off of trouble. Has been changed to, it sets off one mighty big blow-off of trouble. Another one is, well, I'll be damned, said Father. And they changed to, well, I'll be blowed, said Father. I don't think they should keep that one in there. That could lead to a lot of interesting conversations. What the hell was changed to what's got into you? This is a hell of a country up here was changed to this is a rotten kind of a country. I don't, you know what I mean? I'll be damned. Flipped Chris was changed to, well, look at that, flipped Chris. Damn it, man, I'm beginning to, blah, blah, blah. Changed to, man, I'm beginning to. Hippie out with that one, did they? Hey, man, you're a goddamn liar was changed to, you're a low-crawling liar. On and on. So get this edition if you're a fan of the novel and you want to read the original expurgated text. If you're lucky enough to find the first hardcover edition, do an episode on that, because that is a very expensive book. That is among Western novels for first edition collectors. That's the gold standard right there. You're looking for. If you can find that, good for you. I mean, you can buy it on abebooks.com, but you're going to pay through your nose. It would be ideal to walk into an antique store, a thrift shop, or something and find it there. Wouldn't that be something? And would you be honest and tell the proprietor, by the way, that's a $3,000 book, $3,000 plus? How do you handle that? I've never encountered that. I mean, I've purchased books that I knew were worth more than they had, but I assume they did it on purpose. I've never found anything that dramatically expensive, in a secondhand bookstore or an antique shop or something. I found some, but nothing that dramatic where I would say that's a $10,000 book. I've never encountered that. I think most proprietors look into what they have, and they should. So anyway, Shane, today we're talking about Westerns. We're talking about Shane. We're going to have lift our glass to Jack Schaefer and his novel Shane. Here we go. Cheers to Jack Schaefer. Cheers to the Colt single action army revolver that Shane tells Bob is just a tool. Wonderful moment in the book, and it's also a wonderful moment in the film. Perhaps later we'll do another book to movie film just about Westerns. I have quite a few of those, and we'll see how it goes. In the meantime, stay well, stay happy, drink a pint, and read a book. Cheers.